The Vekari delegation sat in stony silence as the Galactic Council delivered their verdict. Admiral Torvald Nystrom, the sole human representative, watched as Ambassador Eltheria's translucent gill frills flattened against her neck, a sign of profound distress among her people. "The motion passes," announced Grand Arbiter Holot, his 8 compound eyes blinking in sequence. "The Vekari petition for military assistance against the Moor incursion is hereby denied." Torvald's jaw clenched. The Vekari, a peaceful, aquatic species from the Cygnus Arm, had been Earth's first alien contact and staunchest allies for over 80 years. Now, with the predatory Moor Dominion annexing their outer colonies, the Council had abandoned them. This decision reflects the Council's commitment to peace and non-intervention. Holot continued, mandibles clicking. "The Moor Dominion has assured us this is merely a territorial adjustment of disputed systems." Disputed? Eltheria's voice resonated with harmonics of outrage. "The Nelaban system has been Vekari for generations. The Moor are systematically—" "The Council has spoken," interrupted the Phacidian representative, Kennet, his crystalline form glittering under the chamber lights. Perhaps if the Vekari had developed adequate defensive capabilities rather than relying on primitive allies, this situation would not have arisen. Torvald recognized the contempt in Kennet's tone. Humanity was considered the galactic backwater. Late to join interstellar civilization, technologically inferior and dangerously unpredictable. The Council had only grudgingly admitted Earth to avoid the diplomatic complications of excluding them. As the chamber emptied, Torvald approached Eltheria. "This isn't over," he said quietly. "It is, Admiral." Eltheria's voice sac pulsed with resignation. "The Moor will take Nelaban, then Cordis, then eventually our homeworld. Without Council intervention, we cannot stand against them. You won't stand alone." Eltheria's compound eyes widened. "Admiral, you cannot mean." "Contact your premier. Tell them to hold Nelaban as long as possible." Torvald tapped his neural interface, already composing an emergency dispatch to Fleet Command. "Humanity remembers its friends, Ambassador." 3 days later, aboard the Vekari defense platform orbiting Nelaban, Commander Liala received the dreaded alert. A Moor battle group had emerged from ultraspace. 5 dreadnoughts and their escort vessels against Nelaban's meager defensive flotilla. "We are receiving transmission from the Moor flagship," her second reported. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing Supreme Commander Vrax, his scaled face twisted into what passed for a smile among his kind. "Commander Liala, the Council has recognized our rightful claim to this system. Surrender your forces and evacuate all military personnel. You have 2 planetary rotations to comply." Liala's gill slits flared defiantly. "This is sovereign Vekari territory, Commander Vrax." "We will not. Your obsolete vessels cannot hope to resist," Vrax interrupted. "The grand powers of the galaxy have abandoned you. Your human pets are too weak to help. Accept the inevitable." As Vrax spoke, Liala noticed her tactical officer frantically signaling. Something was happening at the system's edge. "Perhaps," Liala replied carefully. "You should check your long-range sensors, Supreme Commander." Vrax's expression shifted as an aide whispered urgently in his ear. "What trickery is?" He fell silent as the tactical display updated. Ultraspace ruptures were forming, dozens, then hundreds of them. Through each tear in spacetime emerged warships bearing the insignia of the United Earth Defense Force. Liala's communication officer gasped. "Incoming transmission from the human flagship." The holographic display split, and there stood Admiral Torvald Nystrom on the bridge of the UESS Indomitable. "This is Admiral Nystrom of the 3rd Expeditionary Fleet. By treaty with the Vekari Confederacy, we are here to assist our allies in defense of their sovereign territory. More forces will withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Commander Vrax sputtered in rage. "The Council can take it up with Earth's ambassador," Torvald finished. After you leave Vekari space. The more withdrawal was reluctant but swift. As Supreme Commander Vraxa's battle group retreated to safer territories, an emergency session of the Galactic Council was convened. On Nelibin, Admiral Nystrom and Commander Liala watched the proceedings via quantum transmission. This unilateral military action is unprecedented, thundered Kennet, his crystalline form vibrating with indignation. The humans have violated Council neutrality protocols. Grand Arbiter Holot raised all 4 of his primary limbs for silence. Admiral Nystrom, explain your government's actions. Torvald's holographic projection stood firm. The Earth-Vekari Mutual Defense Treaty predates our admission to the Council. We have not violated neutrality. We have honored our word. Your word threatens galactic stability, hissed the more representative. This armada you've assembled exceeds defensive requirements. Indeed, the human fleet that had arrived at Nelibin was far larger than anyone had anticipated. Over 300 vessels ranging from nimble corvettes to massive dreadnoughts. A force the intelligence services of every major power had somehow missed. The Third Fleet represents a fraction of our defensive capacity, Torvald replied calmly. Earth has quietly built its forces while the Council dismissed us as irrelevant. The chamber erupted in chaotic debate until Ambassador Eltheria's resonant voice cut through. The Council abandoned my people to predation. Should we have simply accepted extinction because your politics deemed us expendable? In the tense silence that followed, Kennet's crystalline form dimmed slightly. The humans were meant to be contained. Their technology should not have advanced this rapidly. Admiral Nystrom smiled thinly. You underestimated us because we didn't develop along your predetermined technological pathways. While you were watching for quantum leap advancements, we innovated in ways your models couldn't predict. On Nelibin's surface, celebrations had begun. The Vekari, facing certain defeat just days ago, now found themselves under the protection of humanity's unexpected might. As morning dawned over the capital city of Lithanar, citizens gathered in the floating amphitheaters to witness the Council's continued deliberations. Grand Arbiter Holot's voice resonated through the transmission. The Council will reconsider the Vekari petition. However, this display of military force by Earth cannot go unremarked. Perhaps, Admiral Nystrom suggested, the Council should consider why Earth felt compelled to build such a fleet in secret. The silence that followed was profound. For decades, we've been treated as primitives, tolerated but never respected, Torvald continued. We joined your community in good faith, only to watch as you abandoned our oldest allies to aggressors. What choice did we have but to prepare to stand alone? Commander Liala watched with admiration as the human admiral addressed the most powerful beings in the galaxy without flinching. The Vekari taught humanity that we were not alone in the universe, Torvald concluded. They extended friendship when they had nothing to gain. We will never forget that, and we will never abandon them or any true ally, regardless of Council politics. As the transmission ended, Liala approached the Admiral. They fear you now. Torvald shook his head. Fear isn't what we want. Respect is. And if they retaliate, the Third Fleet is just the beginning, he said quietly. 5 more battle groups are stationed at strategic points throughout Allied space. We've been preparing for decades, not for conquest, but to ensure that no peaceful species ever faces extinction because the powerful deem them inconvenient. Across the galaxy, the message spread rapidly. Humanity had emerged as a force that could no longer be ignored. The species the Council had dismissed as primitive had built a fleet in secret that rivaled the combined might of the 3 largest Council races. Within days, diplomatic envoys from a dozen previously neutral worlds arrived at Earth, seeking alliance. The More Dominion formally renounced all claims to Vekari territories. And in the Council chambers, a motion was passed to elevate Earth to full Council status, not out of generosity, but necessity. As Admiral Nystrom stood on the observation deck overlooking Nelebin's azure oceans, Ambassador Eltheria joined him. "You changed the balance of power in the galaxy overnight," she said, her gill frills rippling with wonder. "We merely showed what was already true," Torvald replied. "Humanity isn't defined by our technology or our strength, but by our loyalty. They left you behind. We never will." Beneath them, Valkyrie and human crews worked side by side, installing new defensive systems across the planet. In orbit, ships from both worlds patrolled together, and throughout the galaxy, the message echoed clear as starlight. Those who stand with humanity need never stand alone again.